Well, hello folks, this is the Millennial Kiwi. How you all doing? Yes, I'm doing good. Well, yes, a lot is happening over in Europe. It's in a Dutch country called Netherland. And yes, and you can probably know why there's so many tractors on the road. And I'm going to read out the headline. Dutch farmer protest. Well, farmers, they call it the boerens in Dutch. Yeah, the boer means farm. Yeah, boer. Yeah, boerens means you call it in Dutch. And if you, for those who do speak a bit of Dutch language, though, that's probably what it means. If you are in South Africa, because the Afrikaan is also the Dutch, that's pretty much is similar to it though, the Afrikaan, Afrikaan language, yes, is similar to it. And, yes, wow, hello, means hello, means missing, I think that means hello people in Dutch. Yeah, I know. I probably don't speak a bit any of it though. I'm probably a terrible speaker, I don't know. Gosh. Yes. A bit of coffee though. I don't know what you can call it in Dutch. Coffee. Let's still go and translate though. Coffee. Yeah, coffee. Pretty much quite similar though, yeah. Coffee. Means, yeah, it's quite similar though, so let's get back to what I'm saying though. I just like to just say things just for the fun of it. Yeah, and to know that on the 10th of June, the Dutch Minister for Nitrogen and Nature Policy, Ms. Christine Banzer, laid the country's plan to reduce its nitrogen emission. The plan was going from the Dutch province to measure to reduce from between 12 to 70% depending on the area. Well, if they really want to reduce nitrogen, they got nitrogen-loving plants that will love your food cycle. See, these are the nitrogen-hungry plants like rhubarb, spiritual sprouts, kale, pak choy, mustard, and lettuce. If it was really about that, they'll be encouraging the Dutch farmers to grow those. Yeah, they'll be encouraging to grow those, but to know that nitrogen is important for plant growth, it is the most important element. And to know that it is not about reducing nitrogen, and you're going to probably know why. So I am going to go forth and hear what they're never seems to be sliding into dictatorship. I'm going to be watching this file. Say something?
Somewhere else that seems to be sliding into dictatorship is Holland, which may not entirely be a coincidence. The similarities between Canada and Holland are as startling as they are disturbing. Here's Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, leader of the laughably and ironically named People's Party for Freedom and Democracy. Apart from obviously sharing the same wacky lefty sense of humour, those two both are, of course, golden pin-up boys for Klaus Schwab and the globalist fantasists of the World Economic Forum. Only if
you will eat much less meat. Yes, you will eat much less meat.
A few months ago, it was the Canadian government that attacked its own citizens in the most grotesque and terrifyingly authoritarian manner during the so-called truckers' convoy revolts, when the government
Well, we're not there talking about what's happening over in Canada, we're talking about what's happening over in Europe. Let's just get to what this Dutch fella, the Dutch Prime Minister is saying.
I'd like to highlight a World Economic Forum initiative in this regard. The
World Economic Forum. Yep, of course. It said it in the aid prediction for 2013. It says that I think it was the fourth one. It says that you will eat much less meat.
The World Economic Forum food innovation hubs. And these hubs in Africa, in Asia, in South America and in Europe will allow businesses to connect regional stakeholders to skill innovations, because this is key. Skill innovation.
Skill innovation, yeah. That's to know that you're speaking absolute rubbish, Mark. And the Dutch farmers know it. Yes. The Dutch burens know it. They know you're talking rubbish, Marky. They know it.
That can address
They say because key innovation can address
food systems challenges.
Well, you aren't really cause of the problem.
And here, I'm particularly proud to announce that the Netherlands will host the Global Coordinating Secretariat of
a global secretary
of the World Economic Forum Food Innovation Hubs.
Food innovation. Well, you know what that food innovation is? Like the GMOs, eating lab-grown meat, which I call it the lab-grown crap. Which no one wants to eat. And of course, you politicians ain't going to be eating the lab crap, but you want us to eat it right, which we ain't going to be eating that crap.
The hubs are set out to transform food systems and land use, eh? Wonder what that means exactly. Well, your guess is as good as mine, but as I mentioned last night, currently the Dutch government is embarked upon insane efforts to slash greenhouse gases and reduce the amount of nitrogen ammonia in the soil by 30 to 70% by 2030, or even by up to 95% in some places, in order to meet green EU climate change targets that Holland has signed up to. And this means literally turfing people off their farms.
Yeah, turfing people off their farms. And of course, that's going to happen in New Zealand too pretty soon. Because especially, they're going to bring in the climate lockdowns. They haven't came to pass yet, but they're still using the COVID. They're trying to push that. And I heard our mainstream media been trying to say that. Heard on the radio, so be aware of the second wave of the Omicron. Be aware of it. And to know that it's just they're trying to keep the narrative going. They know it's collapsing, but the next plan is to use climate lockdowns. And yeah. And man, and when your farms have too much nitrogen, or you can't be fighting or burping and that though, or they're just going to take your land, or it just happens to be a native species, or it's the season stage where you have to take the land. They'll find any excuse to do that.
I guess that's one way to transform land use and food systems, eh, Rutte? Well, the Netherlands House of Representatives has released a statement which said, quote, "The honest message is that not all farmers will continue in business. Those who do will have to farm differently." Wow, just think about that. But everyday, hard-working Dutch family farmers and others are now involved in massive and growing protests, hardly surprising, with tractor blockades, manure being dumped on government buildings or places, and there are accusations of the Dutch secret police infiltrating the protesters, the same playbook used by Trudeau, allegedly. What a coincidence.
Yeah. Well, that's enough. I ain't going to go towards Max Egan's video, and yeah.
And with all the stuff that's going on in the Netherlands as well, which is again very much contributing to world famine. You know, they're really shutting down the farmers. They're stopping them using fertilizers and all sorts of stuff in the Netherlands.
Well, people, I'm going to have to really edit this video. I'm going to have to really make sure I don't show any of their tags, because it does contain the V word, and I'm not going to say what the V word actually is, because I know if YouTube does pick that V word up, it's going to be deemed as medical information. So if I'm not talking about though, I'm going to be sure I don't show it. So let's continue.
And the farmers have been pushing back incredibly. I showed you some footage, I think on the last report or the one before, shows you the sort of stuff the farmers are doing, like blockading all the right places, covering government buildings in manure, doing all sorts of things. And it was actually Jeff Berwick's last report, the Dollar Vigilante. He mentioned on there something that I didn't know either, that Netherlands is actually one of the world's biggest food producers.
It's apparently the second largest food exporter in the world. I had no idea, and apparently...
Yeah, the second, yeah, and of course it's the EU's largest meat. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, right there. There's the article there. The Netherlands is the EU's largest meat exporter. It's probably like one of the bread baskets of Europe. Yeah, Netherlands is it's probably like the bread basket of Europe. I'm going to actually type in bread basket. Let's put basket. Yeah, bread basket. Yeah, they call it Brumont. Yeah, Brumont. Mint. They call it Brumont. Yeah, and that's what they call it in Dutch. In English means bread basket, and Brumont means bread basket in Dutch. Yeah, Netherlands is like pretty much the bread basket of Europe. That's why they're attacking the Netherlands. That's why. It is pretty much the bread basket of Europe, pretty much, yeah, one of the bread baskets.
A lot of it is meat. So any surprise? Is anyone surprised? Anyone surprised yet still at any of this stuff? That they're trying to shut down the Netherlands from producing food, and particularly meat. Right as we're going in, the UN has come out and said this.
Yeah, because they want us to stop eating meat. That's why, which we'll be getting to that.
This is it's going to be a worldwide catastrophe. It's going to be apocalyptic. Food shortages.
Gosh, that fella just looks like a poor vomit though. He is really disgusting. Cause he is really part of the World Economic Forum, to get the UN chief though. Of course he wants to push the agenda the same way as the World Economic Forum.
But you know, we got to get the Agenda 2030 done. So they try to enforce all this stuff. But here's the great thing. It seems like almost everyone in the Netherlands is totally fighting back.
So when you look at that, it's understandable why they've targeted the Netherlands the way they are, and the people are really pushing back. They really are.
They say it's a matter of time. 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way.
There's been infiltrators though. The police have of course infiltrated the farmers, and some actually got caught doing it and
Yeah.
got chased out of the throng. But yeah, these infiltrators apparently started violence as well, which has caused the police to actually start shooting farmers in the Netherlands. They're literally shooting at the tractors, folks.
Wow, he's literally shooting at them. Holy crap. Ja,
Jongen, wapens! Hé, Wolla, rij weg, jongen, rij weg! Wapens!
oh gosh. Everyone saw it slightly reacted to it. Gosh. Ja,
Pik, je het op film? Ja! Je hebt het op film dat ze schieten! Ga weg, ga weg.
well, yeah, no, it has been used again. We're not keep playing it because of for copyright reasons or so, because there has been music to it. So, yeah, they're literally shooting at farmers. This is really, this is, now back to,
Blijf filmen. Kijk, dit gaat voorspelen. Nee joh, hé, wapens jongen, wapens! Hé, Wolla, rij weg jongen, rij weg! Wapens is daar! Pik, je hebt het op film? Ja! Je hebt het op film dat ze schieten!
Pretty dramatic stuff going on there. You know, these people are pushing back. The world is at war, folks. The world is at war.
yeah, I can agree. The world is actually at war. Yeah, especially there's a war on food. It is happening now. And what? Yeah, of course, our government here in New Zealand, of course, had already started war on the economy, of course, by shutting down our oil refinery. Yes. Yeah, and why the Dutch Rising, why Netherland farmers, of course, to know this is their food, that's their livelihoods. They probably got not much to lose, because they know that's their livelihoods. If they lose it, they probably got nothing. And tonight there's empty shells there, and let's watch that. Yep, folks. You can see the shelves are empty. It's like supermarket's pretty much empty. Oh man, yeah. Financial loss here, people. I am starting to get pretty emotional because, man, it is really it is to know that's the food, yeah. I had already watched that. And yet, bad shells. I probably had showed you that before, so yeah. And there's a file called Calvin on there. And yes, and of course, yeah, New Zealand's climate change is what zero carbon emission. Do you know what zero carbon means? Because we know pretty much most of life on Earth is carbon based. If you pretty much remove carbon, there's no life. And to know that our insane Prime Minister in New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, man, this was passed back in like, yeah, it was been put forth by 2019. Yeah, they want to get rid of carbon based life, which it means no want to destroy life. And yeah, there it is with Ardern's ridiculous cow and burp farm. Cow farts and burps to be taxed for climate change and the backdoor meat tax. Yep, folks. Yeah, there it is. It says, yeah, Great Reset, cut down meat, travel less to save the world. It has nothing to do with saving the world. It's about starving us. People, it's about starving us. That's what it's all about. And I'm going to hear that on Fox News, and yet.
.com.
There are a lot of outrageous taxes on the books, but this proposed burp tax on livestock may be the most outlandish yet. In a bizarre strategy to combat climate change, New Zealand's government wants to tax farmers for the methane emitted by their livestock. Yes, that would mean a tax on cow burps and flatulence. Advocates for this plan insist this move is necessary given sheep and cattle outnumber their human population. I'm sure AOC as well as the entire state of California are inspired and drafting a similar plan as we speak. This kind of thing is, after all, a Democrat's dream. Tax the blue collar and rural workers just trying to make a living, all to appease virtue signaling politicians and celebrities who fly around in private jets and charter yachts on a whim. This New Zealand plan gives a whole new meaning to the term laughing stock. Not even animals are safe from the climate change zealots. I'm Tommy Laren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it is so outlandish and laughable. And of course, well, let's go down. Yet, there it is. Right there. Yet, New Zealand might seem to be on the fringe. However, the small island can occasionally step in the world spotlight, this time with the induction of the first burp tax for cattle and sheep. That is a farm. As a farmer in New Zealand, you'll soon be paying emission tax on your livestock because they burp and also fart. Gosh. Just because why cattle do that, you get taxed for what they do. This is ridiculous, people. Farmers, you gotta really start standing out, though. Europe is rising up. And yet, of course, yeah. Yeah, the methane is found in wetland, but the majority is emitted by human activity from ranching from cattle and rice production to rubbish dumps because of landfills, people. And that's the solution to landfills, why they don't burn the rubbish. Well, because of all the air pollution and that don't, well, there's a way to make the air cleaner. Gotta burn it harder, and yet, and of course, Bill Gates, he wants us to start eating meat. Yeah, Bill Gates, yeah, gosh, that fella. Yeah. Of course, he wants us to start eating meat. Yeah, it's all about going along with the agenda, and of course, we also like to include our articles from New Zealand. Do we really have to start eating meat to save the planet? Yes, so you may heard cow farts tuning to climate change. Here's the good news. Cow farts ain't as bad as for the environment. Bad news, the birds are the real problem. That's the reason why they want to tax it. Yeah, of course they want us to start eating our juicy steak. No, ain't gonna happen though. And of course they're promoting the game changer. Still another green propaganda. Here they say, would you eat a meatless burger? Well, I think I had eaten one before, but I'm not gonna eat it just because I wanna save it. And cause, yeah, they all wanna, yeah, that's what it's all about, yeah. And now, yeah, and this is from the World Economic Forum website. It says that the UN says we need to reduce our meat consumption to fight climate change and improve our food security. No, it doesn't have to be that way, people. It just doesn't have to be. The reason why they want us to stop eating it because meat is healthy and we need it. It is healthy. Our bodies need it for the nutrients. That's why we eat it. And of course, when I was over at my brother's place and my dad was speaking about this, her father who went vegan for at least 30 days and he virtually had no energy, and that's just to let me know that meat is important. Let us know that. And man, cause yeah, and when I was over in Wellington and one of the girls had invited me and she actually told me she was actually a vegan, and man, the next point she was still tired. Yeah, I'm not sure that's actually the case or so, but me, I still get out in that though, and not wanting to stay in bed, and well, I think that's all I gotta say for now. And to know that it's not just the Netherlands that's fighting back, it's also people around the world staying to fight back. That's all in Sri Lanka.
Where the army are brought in to stop ordinary workers getting gasoline. And this morning, as I said, we learned that Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has been forced to flee as protesters surround his residence.
Yeah, he was forced to flee.
More madness caused entirely by the climate cult implementing climate change policies. No other reason. We're also now getting reports that Italian farmers are rising up to protest in Rome. Quote, they are saying, "We are not slaves, we are farmers. We cannot make ends meet." But it's not just Italian farmers. Polish farmers are now protesting. So too are Spanish farmers, as too are disgruntled German farmers. This is taking place everywhere, and you can slate it all home to insane globalist climate change policies. Indeed, Germany's largest landlord, wait for it, will be reducing heating for tenants in order to save energy.
Yeah, reducing tenants. Wow, reducing. Heating for tenants means they'll be cold, getting
According to
sick.
Reuters. I've lived in Germany. It's bloody cold, I can tell you. This, as I say, is the Great Reset in action. In the Netherlands, the proposals include a map displaying areas where up to 95% reduction in nitrogen in the soil by 2030 is required, with entire regions facing 70% reduction targets. Joining us now from the Netherlands is Witse Sonnema, from the Netherlands Agriculture and Horticultural Organization.
Yeah.
Witse, great to see you. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna leave for you to watch, people, or shall we just watch it anyway? Well, I'll actually leave a link down there below if I don't happen to be watching it, but man, let's see what they gotta say anyway.
I'm good, thank you. Good morning.
Now, explain to us, Witse, what is going on in Holland, why these insane policies, and why the farmers and the organization you represent are speaking up.
There's a broad sense of frustration, anger, even despair amongst farmers at the moment. And it's not about sustainability per se. We're amongst the most sustainable producers in the world, maybe the most sustainable producers. But as you mentioned, there's a map now outlining nitrogen reduction targets of 50% nationally, 70 up to 95% in certain areas. And imagine if you're a fifth generation farmer living on your land, making a living, being part of a local community, and you see a map saying there's basically no future. No future for farming, but also no future for the economic, social, cultural fabric of the countryside. Well, that's what happened here, and that leads to these kind of pictures of protests in the street.
James.
Tell us more about what exactly the rules are that are being enforced here, because from here it sounds to me like there's an insane war on food and food production that's
Yeah, of course there is a war on food.
happening here. What are you being told about why they want to do it, where you're supposed to go, and how people are supposed to eat? Is the end plan here that everybody sells their land off cheap and then it's sold to developers or to big agricultural companies, or is there something else going on? And how does a supposedly center-right party like the VVD stand for this?
So I'm not going to give you a full history lesson, but since the Second World War, farmers in the Netherlands had a clear assignment, a clear mission, which is produce good food, make sure it's plentiful, make sure it's available always. And we've been massively successful at that. We've never had hunger again. We've never had empty supermarkets, even during COVID, even during the war in Ukraine now, with supply chains that have been taking a hit globally. In the Netherlands, we only spend about 8% of our income on food, which is both historically and internationally speaking extreme.
Well, 8%. Let's go back a bit.
Always, and we've been massively successful at that. We've never had hunger again. We've never had empty supermarkets, even during COVID, even.
No supermarkets till now. Wow.
during the war in Ukraine now with supply chains that have been taking a hit globally. In the Netherlands, we only spend about 8% of our income on food, which is
8%. Wow, gosh, only 8% of their income. Wow.
both historically and internationally speaking extremely low. And it's fine if the mission changes, if you need us to do more than produce just good quality food. But it needs to be a realistic target. The current targets are a 50% reduction of nitrogen. We've already reduced nitrogen by 2/3 since the 1990s. So another reduction is possible. We've actually, with our membership base, the farmers of the Netherlands, put forth proposals showing that we can reduce further if that is what society asks. But a 50% reduction in 2030, that's in 7 years. It's simply unfeasible. And the protests you're seeing at the moment are, I believe, about more than just that. It's about a disconnect between, on the one hand, political ambitions, and on the other hand, real world outcomes.
Yeah, political agenda. Yes, it's more of a real economic forum. Yeah, their agenda as well. Yeah. Yeah, people. Wow. I'll say, people, I think that's all I gotta say. Yes, there's a war on food, and tonight the Netherlands, they really had it right. It is known for their cycling paradise as well. Yeah, because they have bike lanes there, and yeah, but man, and yeah, cause what? Cause we know we all gotta eat, and man, when these people are hungry, I don't think they will be cycling as well. And yeah, and that's just sad how it is going over in Europe though. Cause they want to starve us out. The same way what Stalin had done to Ukraine in the 1930s with their collective farming policies. Yeah, and I think that's all I gotta say, people. I could be going rambling on for a while, people, but I think that's all I gotta say for now. Because otherwise I'm just taking more of your time as well. And I'll say, people, let's talk to each other, let's share ideas and news, and from word to mouth. And let's put them into practice, and let's build a great future. And that's all I gotta say for now. It's Matthew Miller, the Millennial Kiwi, signing off, over and out.